Hi, my name is Nicola Gibson of Gibson Realty Co., and I'm here with Vinny Marino, who is an attorney with Marino and Associates. So we're coming on this morning to kind of share a story about a client that I had and what an awesome closing attorney's office that we have here. Vinny is the best closing attorney. I don't know any other closing attorney's office that would have helped me with this particular client. First of all, because of the price point and all of the loops and obstacles that we faced. And Vinny was so gracious enough to help us with this transaction. So I have a client back in March. They came to me. They were pastors. And the husband explained to me that he owned a property back in 2004. The house went into foreclosure in 2005. Um, the company that held the mortgage went out of business in 2008 or 9. And then the county came in 2009 and took the property over for back taxes from 2009 to 2012. And in 2012, the county quick deeded the property back to my client, something I've never heard of. And my client was not aware. So, in the beginning of the year, an attorney's office reached out to him and said that he owed back HOA taxes, back HOA fees, sorry, for this property that he owned. He informed the attorney's office that he did not owe any money because he didn't own the property. And they told him, yes, you do. The county quick deeded this property back to you back in 2012. So he researched it. He reached out to me. He said, yes, he does own it. So we proceeded. He said, I want to sell this house. He hadn't seen it since 2004, so we didn't know what condition it was in. So my son and I met him over there so we can do a video, take photos. He had to get a locksmith to come out to change the locks because he didn't even have keys. So when he showed up, the neighbors that lived next door to him, surprisingly, I don't know how they got keys, but they had a set of keys to the house because they were using his property as a storage unit. It was a townhome. So they gave him the key. We went in. The house was in really terrible inhabitable conditions. But we did a video and we proceeded to. My son knows a lot of investors in this business that's always looking for investment properties. So my son reached out to some investors and they went and took a look at it. They said, yes, they want it. We negotiated the deal for $75,000 because after renovation value, the townhouse was only going to be worth about 180,000. So that particular investor wanted to use his closing attorney. So we allowed him to use his. And when his closing attorney looked into it, there was a mortgage lien still on the property. So we had to do research to find out who owns the loan, who's holding the loan, because the first company went out of business. So once we found out who the company was, his closing attorney didn't want to deal with it anymore. So I reached out to Vinny and I asked him if he could help us. And I'll let Vinny talk about his side of what he went through to get us to get this done.
Yeah, so appreciate the introduction, all the nice words you said about me, Nicola. So Nicola reached out to me and months ago and was like, "Hey," she kind of told me the story and everything. We talked on the phone, and I was just like, "Wait, what?" Like I almost didn't even believe it, like what she was telling me. And so I was like, okay, let me go and do like my own like title search and look in the records and see everything. And I started looking into it, and I'm like, wow, the Cab County really did, pretty much through a tax sale, pretty much bought the property back for unpaid taxes, and then yeah, just out of nowhere, just deeded it back to your client just out of nowhere, which I've never, like I said, I've only been doing this for a few years, but my father's been an attorney for over 25 years. was very surprised too when I told him about the story. So yeah, so they just deeded the house back to him. Didn't even tell him at all. Just pretty much was like, okay, well, we don't want to deal with our tax interest anymore in the house. So they just deeded it right back to him without even telling him or anything. So yeah, I mean, I can't believe that the neighbors were using it as a storage unit for about 10 years.
Yeah.
That was very very interesting when he told me that aspect of it. I was like, wow, never heard of that. But I guess I guess I felt like someone had to use it. I guess I mean,
Right.
it's sitting vacant for about 10 years. But yeah, so then of course I discovered that there was still that open mortgage on the property. It was back from when he purchased it back in 2004, the original mortgage that was on there. And I even told myself, I was like, there's no way that this mortgage is still actually out there or held on anyone's books. I mean, we're talking that it was 2009 that that tax sale deed from the county, and there's been no attempt to collect or anything from whoever holds the loan now in the past 10 years. So I was like, there's no way this loan is still around. But of course, it was still open. There was no cancellations or anything. So in order for us to conduct a closing and issue a title insurance policy for the buyers, we had to do our full due diligence and try to find this loan. Um, so yeah, so Nicola and I just kind of just worked together, and I did a lot of research into it. Yeah, like the company that initially held the mortgage went out of business in '08, like many other banks. They went out of business, and someone bought up all their assets. Um, and then the next company that bought it up, they ended up going out of business years later. And then, of course, another company swoops in and buys up all their assets for cheap. And it kind of just got transferred around to so many different places. And finally, just through different contacts that you made, that I made, just trying to track it down. We finally got it tracked down to was a PHH. Finally, was the end that they actually held the mortgage. Surprisingly, like I was actually surprised that it was actually still out there somewhere.
Yeah.
But so it comes to it, and I reached out to PHH, and I was just like, we're doing this closing. Can we get a payoff? And as Nicholas said, I mean, the price was about $75,000 that they're going to try to sell it for, and PHH comes back with an initial payoff statement for it was like 200 something $1,000.
Yeah.
And we're just like, okay, because I mean, like she was saying, the loan that initially took out was only for like 140 or maybe or something, 150,000 or maybe probably even less than that, but just for 10 years or so of not paying on it, actually even longer than that. Just different interest that was accruing in penalties and everything like that. It blew up to over 200,000. So Nicola and I just kind of reached back out to him, and we're just like, listen, this house kind of fell back in this lap, like, and I know your kind was just like, well, they can just foreclose on it and take it pretty much, like you didn't want to deal with the house, or anything like that, or so. And of course, most banks would rather not foreclose on a property because that's time that they have to exhaust into it, so they'd rather just get paid off. And this specific mortgage wasn't actually like held on the books with this company as like an actual mortgage. It was in like an asset. It was in an asset-backed security trust. So they were probably just looking to get any sort of, but they probably thought that they were never ever actually going to get any sort of payment on this. So we were able to finally kind of like negotiate them down. I know Nicola and her client kind of did a lot more on their end for as far as the negotiation. I'm working it down. I kind of just put my 2 cents in here and there, but it was really Nicola and her client that were able to work them down to that final number.
Yeah, we were able to. Originally, we asked them to accept 75,000, and they did. They sent Vinny an email saying they'll accept the 75,000. But as you remember, that's exactly the amount of money that the investor was willing to pay. But he still owed back taxes. He owed back HOA fees. So we could not give PHH Mortgage 75,000. So my client and I spent months actually every week calling the mortgage company, and I was able to negotiate them down to $15,000, which is amazing. So It took us a few months with the back and forth, but eventually they accepted the 15,000. We were able to pay the back taxes, the back HOA, and my client was able to walk away with a check of about $20,000.
Yeah, which is pretty impressive. Yeah, I know for what we were looking at the beginning, there was, I think it was a very likely that if he was get along with any money, actually end up, because I was telling you the beginning when I was like, I mean, we can do the close, but he might have to actually bring money to the close. And at that point, obviously, your clients is like, I'm not doing that. It makes no sense. Like, if they can just foreclose on it and take the house back, like, there's no sense of me bringing money to the closing, which I agreed. But yeah, I mean, we're able to work it out though and get everything, especially with you getting that payoff negotiated down. I mean, that was really the biggest thing. So we knew we were going to have to pay the taxes regardless. You can't really negotiate with the county to reduce those, unfortunately. So whatever you got to pay on those, you got to pay on those. And then yeah, we also had to pay the HOA, which was a lot, but not too much. It was definitely reasonable. But yeah, it was just that mortgage pretty much that we had to really deal with. And I know that, I mean, it took months and months, but as Nicholas said, I mean, this guy was a pastor, a great guy with the community. So I was like, I'm not gonna just hang them out to dry. Like, I'm gonna kind of stick with them through it, because at this point I was just like, I really kind of hate this for him that this whole situation happened. So I was like, I was gonna stick around and kind of do what I can to kind of get this closed. And I think we actually did pretty good job as far as time wise to to get it closed.
And that's what I wanted to say about your business and your company. You and your dad are such great people of integrity, and I appreciate the partnership that we have. And I really care about my clients, and I notice that you do too. You care about the people. It's not just about the money. Because I don't know any attorney's office here in Georgia that would have taken the time that you took to help my client. And so that's why I wanted to share. And I just wanted to let people know that, I know a lot of people work with a lot of different attorneys, but you took time out of your busy life with working with your clientele to really help a client for such a little bit of money for both of us. It meant a lot to me. And we just want to let people know that Gibson Realty Co., we care. We genuinely care about our client. Marino and Associates, they care about the client. And, we do what we have to do to get, everybody to the closing table. And it was my client got free money. It's like a miracle story. We all got free money and my client doesn't even have a foreclosure on his credit. Which he should have had since 2004. So it's been a blessing working with you. And Marino and Associates, they are my preferred closing attorney. And as long as I can put them on my contracts, I will always put Marino and Associates on my contract. So I thank you.
Appreciate that, Nicola. Thanks a lot. And it's great working with you as well. I know, of course, there's a lot of agents we work with, but I mean, working with you is always great every single time. And she definitely does care about her clients a lot and do the extra mile in terms of that. So yeah, we'll look forward to continue to kind of do business with you.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't think we'll ever get a situation like this again.
No, hopefully not.
But yeah, if one comes up, we'll definitely do whatever we can to take care of it, though.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And I appreciate you taking the time to do the video with us today.
Of course.
Yeah, thank you.
Take care.
Was it good?
It was good. I love the story. I mean,